Hey boys and girls, Lucky here and welcome back to another Noob to Pro comeback episode. This time around we got the fourth one, and as always, scheduled first. Every Monday you'll get a new Noob to Pro comeback episode. Then we'll talk about a training routine, checking out you guys' feedback. Today we'll be talking about player roles, and then after that we'll be watching full rounds as requested from my demos. Alright, so let's talk about the training routine. So besides the obvious of always doing deathmatch as much as you can, generally just practicing and doing the warm-up routine properly, stuff like that. We did some arena matches last time, which I did feel like did help me in the regards that I was trying to improve on with like the closer peeking and stuff like that. However, since the next episode is coming up being about the AWP specifically, I want to just prepare myself to get a little bit more back in the zone with the AWP. I usually do not have a problem with that. I usually just can default back to AWPing very quickly compared to with rifling. That's why I'm doing like some just normal deathmatch and, as you can see in the background, just the pre-fire maps, which is a little weird with the AWP, to be honest, especially since like they're in weird places and you're usually in those spots where like you would not engage with an AWP. Or just like where you would not find yourself in an actual like matchmaking game, but I guess it's still like helpful since you just again know the spots, stay prepared. Even though, for example, the guy back there in the right, like no one's standing there. Let's be serious. You can go anywhere from there, so that's very unlikely that you'll find someone or like the guy who's not very close at sandbags. Just letting you know. Okay, super fast feedback round. Yes, I can put timestamps in there. Sorry about that. We'll be up in the next one. Thanks, glad that you liked it, but please also let me know why. That would help a lot. I can lower the music. Already done. I hope it's better in this episode. You're making a mistake by not playing 4x3 stretched. No, I don't. They do seem larger, however they also move faster and you're messing up your kind of perception of the aim if you're not used to it. So it doesn't really help you, besides having the fact that you could put the low resolution, having more FPS. But other than that, it doesn't help. Rifle AWP, what do I say here? Because the next episode is about the AWP exclusively.
Alright, so before we get into the roles, you gotta realize there are rifles and AWPs in the game, and these kind of, well, center around certain roles. Some of them can be used for both. However, something that you have to know, if you're an AWPer, you also need to be able to rifle, because you can't always afford an AWP. So your rifling has to be on point as well. So, however, if you're a rifler...
This is very important, why I keep repeating this, because people always say, well, I'm an AWPer, give me the AWP, because they never bother to learn the spray pattern or anything, or how to do like crosshair placement for headshots, like the proper pre-aiming. So they're always just like, yeah, now give me the AWP, because especially at lower levels, the AWP is extremely strong. So, again, many people who think they're an AWPer really aren't. They just really suck very badly with rifles. Doesn't mean they're good with the AWP.
There are a couple of roles that kind of do, but yeah, let's get right into it.
Entry fragger. I guess this is one of the roles I usually had, entry fragging.
As a rifler, so to speak. So when you're an entry fragger, you're the first guy going in. So skills that you need to have and really be spot on with is kind of, first of all, the timing. So for example, you have to know that when you're coming out of the spawn, just like right here, how long it takes you to get to this spot, as well as how long it takes the CTs to rotate over to, well, banana on this side.
By the way, I have a whole video series on that, the meeting points, mostly focused around the AWP, but it works pretty much for every other weapon as well, because it always shows you the first line of sight where you have contact with the enemy.
For an entry fraggers, being able to spot on, pre-aim and pre-fire certain spots to clear them very quickly.
Like as an entry, you're very methodical of just clearing the corners. That's like, entry fraggers, one of the roles that are the easiest to do even if you're on autopilot. Like usually you do not want to autopilot, but if you're an entry fragger, autopiloting, you can mostly get away with it, just because you're like, you have kind of a routine where you go through. Okay, IGL, what to say about the IGL?
Alrighty, now let's talk about IGLs, or in-game leaders. So as I said before, it doesn't really matter what kind of gun you have as an in-game leader. Most often, however, the thing that you will be using, especially on the T side, is this thing. So as an IGL,
you're either pretty much bomb carrier and shot caller.
bomb carrier staying behind.
Yeah, so yeah, you're staying a bit behind, like within the team or like slightly behind.
Calling the strat at the beginning of the
Preferably within, in case you're getting backstabbed, but
try to set up like this and that. You
yeah.
just go in and try to make it work. However, as an IGL, you also have to have the ability to
actually,
see, like,
I also was a bomb carrier quite a lot. I mean, most people can be the bomb carrier, but I'd say usually AWPers should not be, just because they usually stay a little further away from the team, which increases the distance to the bomb site. And then, of course, entry fraggers, because they're the first to go in, so if they just drop the bomb and you don't have access to it anymore, that's bad as well. Besides that, yeah. Support. Now I just keep saying, oh, I actually also was a support player, but this is just showing you that you really need to like be able to do all of them at all times. Yeah, so pretty much nade usage, setting up crossfires, providing cover for your teammates.
But you are kind of more of a passive player, similar to the
you're more
IGL.
passive. You
So
just
you're the guy who's
obviously
trying
support.
to pop flash his teammates. You're the guy who like is able to do
Yeah.
all of
Also, if you get down your pop flashes when you can flash your teammates in, very strong. Especially like if you only can duo Q, you don't have a full stack. Extremely helpful. If you're able to just flash your friend in and then follow up with him, that's crazy nice. Okay. My most hated role, lurker. So in theory, a lurker's decent. In theory, but usually it's like a cool role and people want to be cool, like an AWPer, so oh no, I'm a lurker, which in matchmaking translates to a person who's afraid to take gunfights and only is finishing off targets that are already pretty much dead, and he's baiting his teammates. That's all they do, usually. So again, I would only have like a designated lurker if your team composition and your team, well, spirit or mechanic, like your teamwork is on point. Otherwise, skip that. Don't have lurker.
Because your team doesn't even have control over the site. So a lurker really only appears as soon as there's control over the site, or as a CG, for example, control over the bomb, so that the enemy players have to come to you.
Yeah,
meaning
when you want to cut them off. So if you're in properly, that's a good point. If you're in a power position, you can just set up the trap as a lurker. So that's usually where it does work. That's true.
Knows that, pushes in with the team, gets control.
It's actually learning
objective,
or remembering
kind
stuff.
Of sets himself apart a little bit, and he's playing some weird off angles, trying to catch the enemy players off guard, because of course they have to rotate in, and that's like another
off angles. I really like off angles. Alrighty, so instead of rather having more highlights and lowlights features, you guys want to see more full rounds. So we'll be starting out watching full rounds now, especially for round 1, which is a pistol round, which is always very important. Well, not as much anymore, actually, but still you get what I mean. So I think I'm going B, and I'm using some armor. Keep in mind, I think this was my... So I chose this game specifically because I think this was the second game that I played, or maybe the third, I can't really remember. But it was a very early game after I came back to CS, and I think this should better highlight my mistakes and whatnot. So there's some firing going on. I could have gone there sooner to support, but I didn't hear any callouts that they were rushing, or even if they were rushing, I felt like holding the position that I had would have been more beneficial. And I'm moving down, and I'm just somewhat pre-firing. See the other guy right there, actually got him. And then this one as well finally. And now we got control over the bomb, which is essentially a very good thing to have. Especially if you're having control over it right here in Banana. Right here I push. And this was not completely necessary, to be fair. However, since we were in the... Like, we got 3 versus 1. And we're both rushing, so that made it okay. Just to keep that in mind. The way I did it was not perfectly executed, but the theory, the tactic behind it was completely fine in order to well, finish off the round, essentially. since we already had control established over the bomb, over everything else. Theoretically, we could have just waited there and didn't do anything, but that's just how it goes. Sometimes we want to get some kills, right? And they're on the timeout. So now we're in round 4. We got a full buy going. Well, theoretically everyone could have, but we have 2 more SMGs with us. And full utility, so it seems to be going great. And as always, I will be going towards B, since I'm the CT playing that site. And I guess I will always pre-molly and nade, yeah. Just like that. Nade there. So you saw specifically, I'm always using the wall back here to bounce them off in case they're hiding in that small cubby there near the logs. And having a molly really, like, not completely in there, but just enough so the flames spread towards the wall really has, like, makes them actually go through the fire completely. And if they're pushing out, you can then catch them off here. Because they're moving, they cannot, like, in order to fire you need to stand still, which they cannot do. So they either stand still and burn to death, or they keep running and you can easily catch them. So, basic CS right here, banana control. And just some pre-firing. I also communicated that to my teammate. I was just like, I'm just pre-firing and didn't see anything, so you can push if you want to. So it's a 4 versus 3, and I think at around this time we got a call that it might be A. So we're just trying to gather some more intel. Now, something you have to keep in mind, we've been pushing banana a lot. So if that would have been a good team, they would probably have suspected us coming down here, set up a lurker in order to kill us. Which I don't think they did. We'll see in a couple of seconds. So yeah, we're just very quietly moving down, and then once they again called that they're trying to execute, we just moved in faster, but again, they got rid of it. So there wasn't much for us to do. Yeah, that guy was like the running, jumping shot there, and he still hit me, but yeah, he was already low. So not much to be done right here. But again, just showing you like a little bit of a different round where not much is happening. I think this is also helpful. Alright, so skipping a little bit ahead into round 9. We had a couple of easy rounds, got a little cocky, which in return made them actually win some rounds as well. So now we're in this weird position right here to actually, I guess, do something. So I get a deagle, get Kevlar and helmet. I actually dropped a deal from a friend. I'm using 5.7. Now I already know what I'm going to do, because this is one of my favorite strats to execute if you're on a very rushy eco round. What you're doing is you're going towards mid right here, and you're throwing your nade right down to the first contact point at ramp where the T's are coming up out of spawn. So let's maybe do it half speed so I can commentate over it better. Yeah, throw it like that. And this has 2 advantages. First of all, damage, obviously. If they're coming out, lots of damage. All of them are tagged. Now, another thing that often happens is when you're being tagged, your aim is kind of off, because you can probably star step, in case you're also using that, obviously, to adjust your aim in some way or another. And you want to really hug the right side of this wall when you're running down. So you can see he already is there, the enemy opper. But it's most likely that he hasn't seen me. Of course, keep in mind, this only really works if you got a good spawn for it, so the one all the way to the left in the front. Otherwise, it's super risky, especially if the other guy also has a good spawn. But just doing this really helps, especially the nade, since it also blocks the view. The like little particles that are coming up from the explosion. So he missed a shot there. Like, due to the angle that they're having here, he would have to wide peek out all the way in order to get me in the right side of the wall, which puts him at a very bad position. He would be out in the open right here then, and then my teammates could easily finish him off. So that's why this is, you really want to hug the right side. Then he jumped down into Mexico, I think is what people call it these days, and I finish him off because obviously I'm better suited to win in firefights. Missed that, so that was my own smoke of the grenade, so you can see it does work in both ways. It doesn't only like make it harder for the enemies, but harder for myself as well once I'm down here. Now I'm in this position where I got a pistol and I got this op. I should try to save it. I actually don't know what I'm going to do here. I'm just holding. I got 2 of my friends here. And I'm moving back. Okay, one of my friends still holding there. Oh, I didn't know. Why didn't I shoot there? It would have been an easy kill. So I'm still using my pistol a lot. Now switching to the AWP. You see I kind of use my pistol to pre-peek because I know I'm faster with it. Then I see the target is like far away, so I'm switching to my AWP, making proper use of my weapons. And another thing, you see we're kind of moving like in a group, if that makes any sense to you. That's because we had this rushing mentality. So even though we're on the CT side, we kind of did surprise them with that. Again, it's kind of a surprise tactic, you could say. So it's a 2 versus 1 now. And it has been called, I think, that he's towards ramp, yeah. I did expect him to be at Mexico. That's why my crosshair placement was down here and not up there, in case you were wondering. Because sometimes people get confused with it and like, what's wrong with the crosshair placement? Well, I was pre-aiming the other spot. Now I'm just holding the angle and waiting for him to peek. And I'm a little slow. But I get him with a re-peek. Now, re-peeking in that scenario, let's talk about that really quickly, is kind of a risky thing. Because whenever you're re-peeking like that, people usually might expect it. Now, with the AWP, it's usually a one-shot, one-kill thing. So you either get the kill or you die yourself. Now, I knew since he was also going for... so essentially what I was doing is just pre-firing. The first one was a peek, and I was quite ready yet there. And the second one was just a pre-fire, so I could immediately return back to cover. The thing why this works with the AWP somewhat decently is because you get a speed boost when you crouch firing. So when you're getting back up from crouching, you're back to full speed and can retreat back to cover. Also, it's harder for the enemy to actually get proper crosshair placement on you for a headshot, since you're crouch peeking with an AWP usually. Like, and I don't mean you get crouched and you kind of crab walk around the corner, but you move, speed up towards the side of the wall, and then once you reach the line of sight that opens up to the enemy, you hit crouch. So that's why that did work. It doesn't always have to, because, I mean, majorly, the thing what makes it easier in this scenario for me was that the crosshair placement is hard for the enemy to anticipate where to put it, like up or down. Alright, skipped ahead a little bit again, we're in round 13 now, and we're still having pretty good control over what's going on in this match, I would say. Just making sure everyone got something they could use. I'm going for a FAMAS here. FAMAS is actually not that bad, I actually like it. Even though it has like a weird recoil pattern, like a triangle. Again, just pre-nading. One of our people gets picked right here. Okay. So we're immediately at a disadvantage. I think it was at mid where our friend got picked. I guess it's like right here. The upper duel is probably what he lost. And we got 3 people on B. Now, this is gonna be interesting. So my friend right here is pushing. He also just has a FAMAS. Oh my god, what are we doing? Okay, 2 dead. 3 versus 5. And it's smoked off. Okay, I can see this is going full YOLO now. I'm flashing myself in, I suppose, if it's working. Because I remember I wasn't quite sure how to do it anymore. So this might just bounce off some wall and hit my friend. But I think I did say that I was going to flash. Okay, it was... Oh, no. Way too high. Okay. Checking, ramp, no one there. And then I got him from behind. Okay. First guy. Down. You see the next thread right here? So I'm adjusting my aim to him. Now this is risky. The AWP guy. He could pick me off. But he, I guess, was focusing on my teammate right here next to me. Because I assumed that's where his line of sight was going first before he was able to see me. So that gave me actually some time in order to kill the surprised enemies. Now again, stuff like that is good if you want to surprise the enemy, and that can work. But we've been pushing banana a lot. So any other good team would have had someone looking towards the back. And just again, pre-firing a little. assuming he would come back. I think I did dink him here. Through the wall. Yeah. Now I'm just hiding. Hiding. I know he's low. I know I saw blood. I got him. Next kill. And I think then I go up to pick up his orb. Now, I can't really remember what's going on next, but I know what I should be doing here right now. I should get back to my teammate right here, number 3, Hentai Vape Nation, as soon as possible, because now we got a 2 versus 1 scenario, so wherever we are and can set up a crossfire, we just have such a huge advantage over him that anything else really wouldn't make much sense. Watching down here, the last guy still has the bomb. I assume he's in abs, so this is a beginner mistake that I don't know why I picked that up again. You do not look down, press E, pick up the weapon. You press G, throw yours away so that you're using auto pickup in order to pick up the weapon automatically, so that you can keep your line of sight at the threat, which I didn't do here. Pretty beginner mistake. Okay, I missed it again, but I think he was up on balcony, I believe. Yeah, up on balcony. So that was completely my mistake, because I did look down, I didn't see up where he was, so I completely deserved to die here. Should have waited with my teammate. Alrighty, skipping ahead to round 21, not much has happened for me so far on the T side, which I assume was because due to me being mostly a support player and not really like getting huge amount of active action. So we got a weird pistol buy going on, like an eco round. Not much to be doing here, just hiding. I guess we're testing out the waters. Okay, this was good. I decided to push in with my mate, but I know I didn't want to drop the bomb somewhere like where it would give us a disadvantage, so I dropped it back towards the back of the team to my friendlies. Keep moving, kind of like checking both sides. I'll remember this. I always I said okay, because I know my friend is good with the deagle. I always said, okay, you're going to peek, but let me jump in first so I can be the bait. Kind of like not, I don't me myself using me as bait is a hit and miss game, because I just run out and jump, which makes me extremely hard to hit, but I rely completely on my teammate to actually get a quick kill on the enemy. Otherwise I'm just going out in the open and die. So you really have to commit with that. Not just you, but the other guy as well. And it does work out somehow. Even got a knife kill. Nice. So we're in a 4 versus 3 scenario. So the risky thing did work out, because it's something again that you would usually not suspect that people would be doing. Of course, if you're always doing weird stuff, then people will suspect you do that. So only if you're playing by the textbook and switching it up, then this stuff is gonna work. Alright, round 25. Let's see what's going on. I think we can mostly afford a somewhat decent buy. The other team is also in kind of a tight spot. Yeah, so it's just like a 4th half buy. Just get the best what you can and make it work. Using the molly in order to make it hard in mid. Just pre-firing through the wood in case he's... And now we have some crispy chicken. That was the problem I said about earlier. Now this time around I'm again trying to use my nade spots. And I think it was somewhere around here. Let's see if it does actually work. It does work. But it's already smoked off. So that was bad team communication. Just spraying through the smoke in hope of getting someone. I know my smoke is further down than this one. I know there's someone there, so I could have just sprayed through. Instead go towards coils, if they still call it like that. Yeah, so I'm essentially like the lurk position. My friendly made some noise over there, so the other guy was pretty... Like this CT, what was he doing actually? That wasn't really making any sense, to be honest. Quick peek there to check. And my friend called last guy there. So yeah, I guess this wraps it up for this episode of Noob to Pro Comeback. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know in the comment section down below if you have more suggestions and feedback and what you would specifically like to see in the next episode from a video structural point. So did you like the full rounds? That's essentially what I'm asking here. See you in the next one. LuckySkillFaker out.